Got the AT light flashing, no gear selection indication. There, it finally rebooted. Okay, so I've plugged in the error reader, and you can see that I'm getting an error code of 0101, and it's lost communication with the TCM. Okay, so here we are under the hood, and the TCM transmission control module is actually located underneath the battery. And so I've got to actually remove the battery and remove the battery box, and I'm going to walk you through those steps. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is remove this box, which is beside the battery. That's going to give us access to this nut. Then we want to remove the battery cover itself. And this comes off fairly easily. You can see I've now got access to the battery, so I'm going to have to undo the terminals and undo the battery holder. Okay, so the terminals come off with a 10mm, and the battery holders actually are 10mm also. This is a 10mm. So you can use a box open end, or you can use a socket, whichever you like. And I'm going to remove those now. So in order to remove this scoop to get to the battery box, I had to take out just a little pin here and a little pin here, and that allows this whole mechanism to come out, and that allows you a side access to this box, which actually splits along the front edge here. Okay, so I removed the battery. It was kind of tricky because there was no handle on it, but I'm going to have to undo that, and there's a bolt back over here. So basically 3 bolts in the bottom of the bucket, so that I can remove the bucket to get to the transmission control module underneath. And you can see that this actually separates, and it allows this cabling to come out of the box when you go to pull it out. I'll do that now. Okay, so I got the box loose. The box is loose. I rotated it up and kind of out of the way. There's a bunch of electrical wires on the other side that I'm leaving connected. And the TCS is underneath this plate. I know it's very hard to see, but I'm actually going to undo these 2 bolts. I'm going to undo these 2 bolts and try to remove this so I can get to, sorry, I'm going to remove these 2 bolts. Okay, so I removed that part, and that gives you a clear shot of the top of the TCM, and you can see the harnessing, and the unit itself is right here. Okay, here's the new module that we're going to be putting in, and if you look, you can see that that's the old module, and it's mounted by 2 bolts, actually 3 bolts, and this one's slotted. And this bolt is actually underneath the cable harness, and I know it's really hard to see, but you just need to pull up and move that out of the way, and that will give access to that bolt. Okay, so in order to release the holder, you have to push down right here and rock this at the same time, and that releases this so that this can come back and unconnect. Okay, so I've disconnected. You can see there, and down there is the edge of the thing. You can't really see it in the video, but I'm now going to remove the TCM. Okay, so I undid this connector, which gave me better access to this, and I've already loosened up the slotted one that's underneath here. This is now hand tight. I'm going to remove it. I've just got one to go. Okay, so I got the 3rd bolt removed, and I can now slide the module out, and I can pull it out, and there is my module. And you can see that I had a L34T 189E1A, and I'm replacing it with the exact same number ending in Rev E. So obviously they've had some problems, and they've hopefully fixed it with the Rev E. And so here's the old one, here's the new one, and if I lay them out, you can see there's the difference in the parts. And I'm just going to reverse the process, install, and we'll test and see if we've fixed the error. Okay, so I've put the new module in place. I've tightened the 3 bolts here, back here, and over here. I highly recommend ratcheting box open ends. It's pretty tight. I'm gonna put the harnessing on now. Okay, so I've connected this connector here, this connector here, and I've mounted the harness back onto the stud. And we're gonna put this plate back in, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, and so I've put the bracket back in place, and now I'm going to take and rotate the box back around and put it in position. Okay, so I've put the box back in place. The 3 bolts are in place, and now I've got to do all the connection points for this front of the box that separates. And I'm going to connect the harnesses up and we'll be good to go. Okay, so I've hooked up the harnesses to the front of the box, and you can see I've punched all the punch throughs here, here, and here, here, and here to hold all the harnessing in place. Everything is routed. I am now ready to put the battery back in the box. I'll do that next. Okay, I've got the battery back in place. I'm going to reroute the negative cable and hook up the positive, and we should be able to box it back up, or at least to be able to test it. Okay, so the terminals are hooked up. I'm going to go plug the keys in, and we'll start this thing up and see if we can clear the codes. Okay, here we go. Start it up. That looks good because the AT is missing, where before we had AT flashing and we would lose the drive indicator. I'm going to button it up and we'll take it for a test drive. Okay, and you can see that we have no codes, no error codes, so that's a good sign. Again, I'm going to put all the plastic back on and we'll take it for a test drive. Okay, I put it all back together. We've got the hood closed. We're still not throwing a code, which is a good sign. I'm gonna go run it through the gears and we'll see how she does. Okay, so we're gonna take it through the gears and see how she does. Okay, so the symptoms before, you would get an AT light, you would lose the drive letter indicator, it would go blank, the computer would apparently reboot in about 10 seconds, and the car would jump into 3rd gear. None of those symptoms appear to be present. I think we've solved the problem. Thanks for watching.